You sneaky. You're running as an outsider.
I am an outsider.
Is this true?
Yes, it's true. This man has no dick.
Come on. Come on. Really?
Do you smoke crack cocaine?
Exactly.
Let's give the people what they came for.
Guess what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more cowbell.
Mr. Prime Minister, will there always be a Canada?
There will always be a Canada.
All right, elbows up.
Elbows up.
It's like people only do things because they get paid. And that's just really sad.
Ready? Are you ready? Get them out of here! Get them out of here! Get the hell out of here!
Enough with the woke shit!
So the answer to that is to stop being stupid.
I can't do it. We'll do it live. Okay. No. We'll do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Get your special sock out, nerds. It's gonna get good.
Is the federal government stealing from us? Are they sabotaging our industry? Are they taking us down the path to communism? Are they censoring us? Are they stealing our guns from us? Come on, let's go.
Let's fucking go.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to The Fringe. Welcome to regularly scheduled Forge Fringe Monday. It's good to be back. It's good to be here in the chat where I can actually see what you guys are saying. We got a big show to talk about tonight. A lot of things going down, especially on the independence front. As the title said, something smells fishy in Alberta, and we're going to get to the bottom of it tonight, or at least get your opinions on what is happening. I hope you guys had a great week last week. I know anybody who tuned into my Friday night stream, I didn't really know a lot of what was going on, so I kind of needed the weekend to get caught up. So we kind of just talked about the trip and answered your guys' questions. So I'm sorry if that was kind of a laid back stream, not really kind of what you guys are used to, but hey, it's good to have you guys in here. Hit the like button if you haven't already. I talked about Iran today. Our video got pulled. YouTube, of course, doesn't like it. I think they put us in YouTube jail. So we're going to try and get some people in here because people aren't being notified. Hit that thumbs up, guys. If you can do me a solid, hit the thumbs up. If we get 1,000 likes tonight, I'd like to give away a t-shirt for one of you guys. Hit the thumbs up, will you? If 1,000 likes, we'll do a t-shirt giveaway, merch giveaway this week. Wouldn't be a show here on The Forge if I didn't bring in my hetero life mate and good old co-host, Mike. How are you, Mike?
How's it going, guys? Welcome to the show. Sorry, I'm out here in Grand Prairie. First things first, guys, getting shadow banned as usual. So do us a favor, smash that like button, share the show with your friends, and put it out there.
Yeah, there's Kevin saying notification was late. So there you go. Yeah, YouTube's not really, they don't like me very much. They don't like how I do things. So
How is Disneyland? Let's just get this out of the way.
In Disneyland, it was good. It was fun. We talked all about it on Friday. The kids had a blast. For such a hectic week, it was very relaxing. I'll tell you one thing. I haven't had such a break from hearing the word Trump in such a long time. Although a lot of people were talking in the comments on the Friday night stream saying that California is very anti-Trump. Anybody I was talking to was pro-Trump. In fact, somebody in Disneyland was wearing a MAGA hat and people were cheering him on. So I really don't know what to make of what was. Maybe we were just in the right part of California. I don't know, but it's good to be back. It's good to be back here with you guys. What do we got? Who do we got coming in? Let's get a good old-fashioned roll call going on. Let me know if you guys are watching for your first time.
Let's see who we can get. Let the master do the roll call, as like Matt and I was struggling through it last week. Guys,
I watched the stream. You guys did fine. You guys did a great job. Let's show them how we do it here on The Fringe, shall we? Kevin's coming in from Queen Creek in Arizona. Good to have you in here. We've got Carrie from Nashville, Tennessee, coming in. Good to have you here. We've got John coming in from Rimbey as well. Good to have you back. We've got Linda coming in from Rimbey as well. A lot of Rimbey viewers. Wesley Snipes coming in from Lethbridge. Julie Fraser's joining us once again from Leduc. It's nice to have all of you in here. I couldn't get a stream over without Butt Fluff coming in and having to say that. I love it. Coming in from Strathmore. Good to have you here. David Brewer. Oh, he's joining us from Springfield. I haven't done that in a long time. It's good to have you in. We got Jason coming in from Sundre. Nelson Cade's joining us from New Brunswick. We've got Bored Canadian coming in from Smith. It's good to have you in here. Mystical's still on my roof. But hey, you did a good job guarding the house. I appreciate that. You might see the Aurora Borealis in the kitchen. We'll see. Carol and Gerald are joining us from Calgary. Good to have you in here. We've got Steve Jensen coming in once again from Mirror, Alberta. Teresa McCleary's coming in from Calgary. Peter's joining us from Spruce Grove. It's good old Peter. Bradley's coming in from Edmonton. It's good to have you in here. Mike's coming in from Kirkland, Washington. Gotta love Mike coming in. Carson is first-time viewer, guys. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Carson El Gringo Grande, but he's a born-again first-time viewer. We'll go easy on him. Tonight. Mr. Biggs coming in from Edmonton as well. Harley Squirrel Nuts. Oh, it's Harley Squirrel Nuts coming in from Rocky Mountain House. Rock and roll. We got Tony Shaw coming in from Calgary as well. Greg's coming in from Brighton, Tennessee. I love our American viewers. You guys are wonderful. I got to be honest. My Trump is a little off because I haven't done it in a while. I'm sorry about that. We got Unknown coming in from Texas. David's joining us from High River. Kirk is joining us from Fairview. Care Bear coming in from Innisfail. Glad you're back. I'm glad to be back. I tell you, you guys are my last bastion of sanity. I know I say it in my videos, but it's the truth. I'm happy to be back. Let's get caught up in the chat. We got some honorable mentions to move out of the way right off the bat. Thank God, because I will never financially recover from Disneyland. Karina coming in as a member for 5 months. Hello from Canada, Calgary. So glad your channel exists. I appreciate the kind words. Believe me, there's days where I sit and ask myself, why do I do this? Like, why do I continue? But it's those kind of comments that keep me around. Monique coming in as a member for 11 months as well. Thank you so much. Cameron and Monique from Lethbridge, love all 3 shows. I'm so glad to hear that. And again, Matt and Mike did a fantastic job. Throw 1 in the chat if you think Matt and Mike nailed it while I was gone. I was happy to have them taking care of things around here. Mike, a lot happened while I was gone.
Well, we didn't get the channel banned, so I mean, so far so good. Little victories. Let's take that. I mean, it was a crazy week, absolutely crazy week. First things first, guys. I want to give a shout out to some of the canvassers I went to go visit this weekend. This gentleman here, he was out in Edmonton. I think he was around the 780 signature mark already. So I'm
wow.
Like, he's gonna give Marty up north a run for his money. He's gonna be there for the rest of the month, just doing God's work. Beautiful. And then there was these other wonderful people out in Sherwood Park.
Unbelievable.
Just a random pop-up and really good response and everything like that. And I really like to see that. I told him I'd give him a shout out on the show. They're, like I said, they're putting in the work. Also beautiful news, guys, up in the poly markets, we're ahead. Will the province schedule a referendum and leave Canada before 2027? This is 55% chance. Wow. I don't think we'll leave before, but I think they will definitely get the referendum for sure. So that's great news. Besides that, it's just been an absolute crazy week. Everything going on in politics. The crazies on the left don't stop as usual, and we're really it's definitely turning into a fight for
well. Things are going to get a little crazy. I want to get to a little bit of weird things happening around Canada. And then we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of what's going on, because we do have a guest joining us tonight, folks. I'm going to leave that guest a little out on the line, but you guys are going to want to hit that like button. We've got a good one tonight. Let's talk about what's happening in Canada. For anybody who is looking for another reason for Alberta to leave, here you go. In China today, a shipment of Chinese EVs spontaneously combusted and exploded into flames. Luckily, this batch didn't make it to Canada. Maybe the next batch will be successful. Hey guys, take a look at this mess. Is this really what we want in the country? In China, I've got to have my China. Is this what you guys really want in Canada? Is this what Mark Carney really wants? I don't understand
Look
I
at
don't
all those.
understand how this is
Look at all those
beneficial.
carbon credits up in smoke.
How much carbon is this producing? How much pollution is coming up? And look at it. Like, who wants to drive their family around in one of those? I just can't. I can't even.
It's not even
I
the
saw
fact that
this.
it's one of them. It's the chain reaction throughout the trailer. Just yeah, no, I'm gonna hold out. I'm gonna hold out. If electric vehicle comes into play, maybe a Tesla. But besides that, I'll hold out on the Chinese EV for now.
It's funny because when we landed in LA, the first thing they asked is, what kind of vehicle would you like to rent for the week? I said, give me what you got, the biggest engine, the biggest emitter of carbon. And I'm actually debating with Mrs. Fringe trading in our vehicle to go and get the vehicle we had. They gave us a Jeep Wagoneer for the week, and that thing, it's like a giant government vehicle. Like one of those big government SUVs, like almost like a GM Tahoe or something. And Tiff sat in the back with the kids when we were going to Universal because they wanted her back there with them. And she said it was like sitting in a limo. Like the thing was absolutely massive.
Derek, after the show, you and I are gonna have a conversation about this because I have some info,
some
about
negative things.
That personal vehicle, but I don't want to ruin it for the rest of the people that may or may not have them. But
all right. Well, there you go. Maybe you'll talk me out of it then. Who knows? Let's talk about something funny in the news. We haven't talked about Pierre in a while, have we? When we talk about the elbozos and the lefties with their elbows up, take a look at what's going on in the media right now. We all know that with the referendum incoming, they're going to start painting Albertans in a very negative light. It's going to get crazy, guys. But look at what they're trying to do with CTV News. Even JGen X are putting out here, and mainstream media is trying so hard to make Pierre into Orange Man bad. It's pathetic. Take a look. I'll ramp it up here. Look at the saturation in the CTV News clip versus the original on Parleview. I'll play the audio for you guys so you can see that it is legitimately the same clip. The skin tone, guys.
Mr. Speaker, we don't need more signing ceremonies.
Did CTV put an orange filter on Pierre Poilievre?
More summits, more laws, more agencies, more corporate buzzwords, or more abracadabra. What we need from this Prime Minister is one thing. Get out of the way.
There you go. Look at all the comments. He's looking awfully orange. Subliminal Donald J. Trump orange. Is that tanner on his face? Policies he announced to mimic his orange face. If they did, it worked. I mean,
I was gonna say he looks a little tan for middle of winter, you know, and unlike Carney flying around everywhere, I mean, I'm sure he doesn't get that much sun.
I just couldn't believe it when I saw it. The mainstream media, look, it doesn't surprise me anymore. Anytime people say to me, did you hear this happened or did you hear that happen? And it's usually something that's way out there that, 5 years ago, I would have been like, really? Like, I mean, we live in Canada, right? But nowadays it's like, yeah, it just doesn't shock me anymore. The liquor store can't provide me with enough to drink my ways around.
I could just see the intern there on the computer, and then the guy behind him being like, more contrast, more contrast. He's not
more
doing
contrast.
enough.
Ramp it up. It needs to be over 9,000.
He puts like an orange in front of him. This is what I meant.
This is what I wanted him to look like. Donald. Okay, we want him looking like Donald, so people understand what they're dealing with in politics here. CTV, listen, guys, I've got some advice. For you.
Go ahead and call your dads, tell them about your alternative lifestyle as a gay communist, and then who knows, maybe eat a lollipop. I don't know what flamers do with their time, but I'd imagine it's something along those lines.
Yeah, there's what the real orange man looks like, and God, he's a legend. Kevin with the $5 super chat. Rural northern countries, Eastern Sierra Nevada mountain countries, Orange County, Disneyland, and San Diego County. Or those are all counties. I'm sorry, I said countries. Are conservative Republican California. There you go.
Absolutely.
Good to know. Good to know. And people were so friendly there. Like I didn't even really mention on the Friday stream. Like there was a guy from Northern California. Apparently the Disney resorts had some kind of special going on for residents because it's kind of their down season before spring break hits. So people are given deals that are considered local or within state to come down and, spend their money at the parks. So they were staying at the hotel, and we were talking with them, and they asked where we were from, and I said Alberta. And as soon as I said Alberta, the guy, he must have been, mid 50s to early 60s, immediately jumped up and knew exactly where I was coming from, knew what we were doing, said, how do you feel about the vote to leave? And how are things going? And, Tiffany kind of chuckled when he mentioned it. And she says, my husband covers politics on YouTube. So we got into this whole discussion. But the things he was talking about, like, they're really down to earth and very, very, backed behind what Alberta is doing. At least the people I was talking with, really nice to converse with them. And the things he was telling me about California with the welfare system, everybody on the welfare's got like the newest iPhones. He says they're flooding the Disney parks because that's what they do with all this money. The Leering Center folks, they get all this handout money, and that's what they're doing with it, is blowing it, living the high life while working, contributors like himself have to foot the bill. Sounded a lot like Canada.
Well, at the end of the day, like we're kind of a foreshadow to them. Europe and everything that's happening right now in France and Belgium and in England, and the censorship and all that stuff is, I would say, like 3 to 5 years before us, and we're 3 to 5 years before the US. So for them, seeing that there's a glimmer of hope out in Western Canada to get out of this the situation that we're in currently, I mean, it's probably like, okay, well, if these guys can do it, better times are ahead. So I can definitely see the level of support there.
Yeah. It was really nice to converse with fellow Americans. Well, not fellow, but Americans with opinions and aspirations similar to those of Albertans that understood what we were doing. In fact, even, we sat down at restaurants, anywhere, people said, where are you from? As soon as you mentioned Alberta, they all knew what was going on, and they were all following what was going on. So it was really nice to meet with those folks and chat with them. Mike Guyver, damn, I didn't know it was Carney's birthday. Would have sent some cow dung. Is it really Mark Carney's birthday?
I don't know. We'll look into this.
We'll give one of his quotes. Who cares?
Exactly.
Who cares? Teresa with a $20 super chat. Thank you so much. Canvassers in Calgary were just notified that anyone canvassing on Costco properties will be charged with trespass without further notice. If canvassers elsewhere hadn't heard, you might want to watch out for yourselves. It technically is private property, but it shocks me a little if that's the way they're going to behave. Somebody had posted, I think it was David Parker, just posted on X before I started the stream, whoever got permission to fill out their table outside of the Edmonton Oilers games, like, that's prime real estate, and kudos to them. So, Rogers Place had no problem with people garnering signatures next to the arena. So that's kind of weird. Costco would do. I guess Costco doesn't need our business, folks. That's the way I see it. But hey, do however you want to do.
I mean, it was funny at the one Canadian Tire signing, the guy was like on the public road in front of it, and the assistant manager came out, and she's like, we're having complaints. Can you guys please move? Gentleman's like, well, it's a public road. She's like, I know, but you're doing it in front of a Canadian Tire. This is a Canadian business. And he probably had the best response I've ever heard. I'm like, your company just fired a bunch of Canadian citizens to bring in temporary foreign workers.
Yep.
Why are you supporting this?
Yeah, exactly.
And she just like 180 turns around and walks away. And then the first thing that comes to my mind, I'm like, if they could get rid of you to bring in a temporary foreign worker, they definitely would, sweetheart. Like, I was like, well done, sir. Tip of the hat.
Tip of the hat. That's troll level 1 million. Gerald Cooper, $5 super chat. Derek and Mike, are you going to the slow roll on Saturday from Calgary to Edmonton to Red Deer? Carol and I are going. What do you think of the fuel cost? So the fuel cost is one of the reasons I won't be going to that. In fact, gas, I couldn't get over how much it had gone up since we came back from the US. It's in Calgary, some of the stations were at $1.60.
Yeah, well, I think I filled up at like $1.56 today on my way up here to Grand Prairie. So,
yeah,
guys, I won't be able to make it. I'm up in Grand Prairie for the next little while. So
yeah, and after the last week of moving around, I think this weekend we're just taking it easy around the house. I hope everybody understands. It's not that I don't support the slow roll. It's that I think I'm going to be rolling slow myself for the next few days just to kind of get back into back into the swing of things. In fact, Mrs. Fringe spent the entire day napping, just trying to catch up because it's been crazy. The amount of steps that we took each day, and the kids were just done by the time we were coming home. And that's how you know you had a good trip. They were exhausted, but the last day we were there on my birthday, my daughter gave me a keychain that said, it was like a little tiny Mickey Mouse ears. It said best dad on the back. And she says, I will never forget this trip. And that made it all worth it. So that's how you know you did it right. And, well, those memories were worth every penny. So, but I couldn't believe just how much fuel's gone up, and it's going to continue to go up, folks. In fact, many ministers coming out today talking about oil and gas. I'm going to have a video on that coming up, just how crazy it is about to get. Even though we're so rich in it ourselves and could have put pipelines through, even crazy liberal Doug Ford is calling for pipelines across the country. And of course, nothing's going to happen. Like, we could easily get ourselves out of this mess. And not necessarily tomorrow, but at least over time, we could be less dependent on oil from other countries, refine our own oil out east, do something with our own products. Nope, not going to happen. Not going to happen. And
it would have been nice to be the petro state that should have happened. But,
well, look at that, $3.69 a gallon in northern New York. I think it was about $5 a gallon when I was in California. Which is still less than we're paying here. Way less. And they said that it just jumped up.
At that point, you cannot have a V8. You need to have a V8 at that point.
Yeah. Unreal. Steve Jensen, $5 super chat. With the price of diesel at $1.80, it cost me over $200 to fill up from a quarter full tank. Oh my goodness. That's give a kidney for that. Kevin with a $5 super chat. Rural, northern, and eastern California want to leave California and be the new state of Jefferson or join the state of Nevada. East Oregon wants to shift to Idaho. Well, that's great. Well, maybe Alberta can start setting some precedents as to what your voice and your vote can actually do. We'll see as time goes on, I guess.
We'll end up like the map of Europe and just shift over time, different states and different countries.
Well, there you go. Greg saying California has the highest gas prices in the United States. And it's funny because like we drove our Wagoneer that Mike has to talk to me about all over. Like we went to Hollywood to take the kids to Universal and stuff. All the driving we did in the week only cost us, I think it was about $55 US in fuel when we gave it up a week later. And keep in mind, we drove from LAX to Anaheim and then Anaheim to Hollywood and back. And it was about an hour and a half each way, like with the traffic. So, I mean, we put a fair amount of time on that engine. And the minimal cost in fuel compared to when we got back, I think I was just below 3/4 of a tank in our Acadia when I got back. We paid almost $90 to fill between half a tank and 3/4 to drive home from the Calgary airport. So absolutely insane what the difference is. Teresa, $20 super chat. We tried to do that for the Flames game, and the Stampede board told us we're not allowed to get anywhere on the grounds. And the transit security also made sure we were away from their platforms. They really restricted us. That's terrible to hear. I'm sorry to hear that. Thank you so much for the super chat.
All right. Speaking of the cost of everything, do we get into what everyone's here for? The
douche of the week. The douche of the week. Do we get? Maybe it's time. Maybe it's time we bring in the douche, ladies and gentlemen.
Come on. Really?
Excuse me, it's ma'am. It is ma'am.
That's what we need to do, is support each other.
Douche of the week.
All right, everybody,
Mike,
welcome to the greatest time of the week. It is the weekly douche of the week, where we talk about the person that managed to anger me the most online, and we'll get into the beauty. This week's nominee, Gregor Roberts. I don't know who calls their kid Gregor, but anyway. MP for Vancouver, Fairsview South Burnaby, Minister of Housing and Infrastructure. This week, number one nominee based on a bunch of replies, and after I screened them and just picked the one I wanted. So this week, Gregor, you're nominated because Housing Minister blames Middle East war for Canada's housing crisis.
Oh no!
Yeah, during in the House of Commons, he decided to belt out that beautiful gem. In case he hasn't noticed, the war in the Middle East only started a couple of weeks ago. So, but apparently the cost of housing in Canada is a recent problem. I mean, this is also the guy that failed at the Build Canada Homes. Like I said, CMHC warns housing will fall through 2028 despite federal push for 500,000 homes a year, aka the quota that will never be a quota. Absolute monkey. But I couldn't believe this. The internet was alive with this. You've done bad and you suck when you're blaming Trump for the cost of housing in Canada. I mean, we all know now, though, it's kind of a weird situation because right now, like the housing market in Toronto is completely collapsing due to inflation and essentially everything that happened with the migrant situation and all that stuff. If you bought a condo, you're losing your shirt right now.
Yep.
Even that, the Build Canada Homes project at the end of the day it's really all they're going to do is rentals. They're nowhere close. I still think it's a giant money laundering scheme. And at the end of the day, nothing's going to get better. So for that, Gregor Robertson. I keep want to say Roberts. Anyway,
Gregor Robertson.
Yeah, Gregor. I mean, we're not going to get into let's see, like your $20 million in real estates that you own, but at the end of the day, you are, for that stupid comment that was good because you got blasted all over the internet, you, Gregor, this week are the Unacceptable Fringe Freedom Honey Douche of the Week. That's Derek approved, Mike approved, a lot of people on X approved, and we'll go from there.
You know, I was almost hopeful it was going to be Big Gary.
Why bring the gun to me and then I give you $25 gift card to Tim Horton?
Do not redeem it! Do not redeem it! Do not redeem it! Why you redeem it?
He's too easy. That's the problem with Gary. He's just too easy. It's everything he says. He puts his foot in his mouth. And I mean,
too easy.
It's too easy. And like, for him, like I could do a show just on him. It's ridiculous.
Unbelievable. Gerald Cooper with a $5 super. Jericho, I have a better solution for fuel mileage. Listen, Gerald, that isn't going to make up for $1.60 in gas. I know what you're going to be talking about, and I don't have the product name in front of me, but that's not going to cut it. Steve Jensen, $5 super chat in BC. Gas is almost $2. Diesel at $2.40. That's insane. Steve Jensen with another $5 super chat. That douche destroyed the housing market when he was MLA in BC. He's a total goof. It sounds like it to me. I mean, I don't follow him very much, so I don't know, but it sounds very.
He definitely aided with the hyperinflation that is like the BC real estate market. So,
well, just think if you're in the Vancouver area, your house is essentially worthless now because it's owned by. Is it Musqueam or whatever they want?
And then there's like another one that they're arguing over it. For me, like I said, I just want to sit back and see what happens.
Just watch the shit show.
Well, it'll start a precedent that it is actually kind of terrifying. But when it comes, like I said, the nice thing about Alberta is our treaties are pretty much ironclad, so none of that will be happening.
Well, we'll see how ironclad they are when they go to court in April with Danielle Smith, but time will tell on that. We're going to talk about that tonight. Kevin with a $5 super chat. California is shutting down refineries that Arizona and Nevada depend on. Both need their own refineries and oil pipeline from Alberta, not just Texas. I agree. I'd like to see that happen up here. If you know anybody who can move that deal forward, besides President Trump, I think he'd do wonderful things. I think he'd like Alberta oil. We'll see what happens. What we got here? How dare you? $2 super chat. Carney's date of birth, March 16th, 1965. He's now 61. 1965. Oh, wait, that's 55. I'm thinking of Back to the Future.
Well, at least he hasn't started collecting CPP yet, so we're good.
Oh, is he going to take his pension even though he has 3 passports? Who knows? It's
which pension does he get? That's the mystery.
The treaties are with the Crown, not Danielle Smith and the UCP separatists. Well, you'd be amazed who they can put him against when they waive their victim card. What did you want to talk about, Mike? Sorry, I kind of cut you off there.
No, it's okay. I was going to say we're just waiting on our guest. She's kicking around, our mystery guest. Let's get
having a little technical difficulty.
Let's talk about this gem that I found. This is let's say minutes of fun on this one. All right, guys. CBC, Indigenous entrepreneurs are using drones and aerospace tech to decolonize the sky. This was a real article. After about the 30 minutes of me laughing about this one, at the end of the day, new technology is creating opportunities for Indigenous communities to become more self-reliant. Essentially, so it turns out there's like an entire Indigenous aerospace fund out there, and it's like in the billions. So I'm going to question all of this, but let's see. Indigenous Aerospace is the name of the company, specifically focuses on business in a box model for First Nations. Their role is for community access, federal and provincial grants to cover the financial capital needed for the drone tech, repayable loans, interest-free loans for commercial project up to 75% of the cost, non-repayable contributions for non-commercial testing and infrastructure up to 90% of the cost. So essentially, yes, your tax dollars are paying this to decolonize the sky, because we're a bunch of bigots, and apparently we own the sky too.
And how much goes into that? This is what I was always talking about, folks, with NGOs and the waste that goes through our system. It's no different than the Leering centers in Minnesota. It's just money that's pushed through on what do they call it? Blood guilt. So so the chiefs that sit and complain that we can't have a referendum get more money to put in their pockets while they treat their people like shit. It's unbelievable how this government works and operates. Bridget with a $13.99 super chat. No message though. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. What else do we got here? Rob coming into the $5 super chat. BC people and Indigenous peoples fighting over the land, but the fine print still says the king owns the land. Well, but when have the laws ever been upheld in any province when it comes to things?
And BC land treaties are like you could literally do like a university course on it. They are so, like, when it came to Alberta, Saskatchewan, where everything was done with the crown because we were a territory and everything like that, the BC ones were kind of very terribly written and stuff like that. So the interpretation is all out there. Like I said, that's going to be lawyers. That's going to be one hell of a fight. Derek, do you want to introduce our mystery?
Well, I was going to say, things are definitely fishy in Alberta. We're going to talk about a few things tonight, but it wouldn't be any show without bringing in our next guest, one that I definitely admire and respect greatly. And I'm so grateful that she's taking some time to stop by on the show tonight. The beautiful and talented Tamara Leech. Tamara, welcome back. It's good to have you back on the show.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's nice to be here. How are you?
The Queen of Canada has presented herself. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Maybe the new Queen of Alberta. We'll see what happens, I guess, when time moves on.
Yes.
I want to talk about something, Tamara. Listen, something happened that I want to talk about that came out. I'm really interested for your opinion and viewer opinion, because this, it's not good. It's not good. Danielle Smith was on with Juno News the other day. She was talking about Mark Carney's Liberals, and she was actually, I tweeted out about this morning, because she has this statement where she says that a Mark Carney Liberal government, a majority government, would actually help fast track any of the processes that she wants to bring in terms of pipelines with Alberta. My question was, what does Danielle need a Liberal majority government for when Mark Carney could have put a pipeline through at any time? I don't think the Conservatives would have fought against Mark Carney doing such a thing. But with her, I guess, giving the seal of approval for a Liberal majority government, and for her talking about the constant need for, I understand her mandate, but for a united Canada within a free Alberta. What do you take of the Premier's stance here? Like, is she starting to kind of push away from independence, do you think? Or do you think that maybe she still stands with citizen initiatives, given everything they've done to get us here so far?
Well, I think she still stands with citizen initiatives. I don't think that necessarily means that she's not come out and said whether she's pro-independence or against independence. And she really can't. I mean, she was not elected on a mandate of an independent Alberta, really. I think that statement, of having a Liberal majority government is helpful. I mean, where has she been for the last 11 years? I really like Danielle Smith, but I think it's just talking out of both sides of her mouth, really. I don't think a Liberal majority is going to help us get a pipeline or help Alberta in any way, period. It's just performative, just like the MOU that they signed a few weeks ago. And then 2 weeks ago, they signed an agreement to hold talks about having consultations about who to hire to consult. It's just like, it feels like Alberta is still just chasing its tail.
Yeah. It's one of the things I brought up in the tweet because again, I know I'm definitely not one to shy from giving their opinion, but I asked anybody looking at the tweet, what are your guys' thoughts on what Danielle's doing? And it was kind of mixed. Some people say she's muddying the waters. Some other people are saying, look, I'm going to trust her for now, because like you said, that she didn't have a mandate on independence. I guess some people had sent me a few other postings of those like Mickey Amory who were saying, look, if this violates the Constitution, if the question is violation of the Constitution, it's not going to move forward. Some people are worried that's cold feet already for the court process happening in April, saying that they're prepping already to shut things down, that we're not going to get our vote on independence. But I've also stood in Danielle's corner to say, but she said multiple times that if this question gets validated signatures and meets the threshold, we will get it on a ballot. So I guess I'll be naive and stand back and say, hopefully we see it come forward, because I still believe to some extent that Danielle is on our side. I guess what I worry about is the constant theatrics of, I'm going to talk about a united Canada and I'm going to push for a united Canada every single time I'm asked about it, and cause a bunch of concern within those who are pushing for independence that maybe that this process gets stopped. Like, do you think maybe there's a middle ground that she could take that kind of gives people a better feeling that while she can't come out and say something, that our democratic process is still protected, that we're going to be able to move forward?
Well, I think she's done that just by lowering the threshold for the petition signing, honestly, like and increasing the time frame to do that. Now, she didn't hand us, a win on a silver platter by any means. It's still a lot of work, and the canvassers are out there hitting the pavement and working really hard. So again, I don't think she's necessarily trying to stop the democratic process. I think she's trying to encourage it. Personally.
I'm gonna
go ahead,
Mike, here for a second. Yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, I look at it this way: a Carney majority just helps the movement even more. At the end of the day, he's going to get it. There's not a doubt in my mind, either through floor crossers or probably the by-elections that are coming up at the end of next month. He will get his majority. And, like I said, at the end of the day, right now, when it comes to the independence front, we really just need to try to get the fence sitters to go to come to our side, to understand that there is a better future, and this is where it's at. We're at a tumultuous part right now, because you've got the camps are basically set. We've got people on the left, we've got people on the pro-independence side, and I mean the more fiercely ones of us, like ourselves, that we're all in. There's not an issue. We've got people on the Forever Canada side that are entrenched and completely settled their minds on that one. Now the problem is convincing that middle ground. A lot of people clamor, and I know, Tamara, you're like me. I mean, at one point we were all Canada first. This was, I was hugely patriotic. I was proud of the country and everything like that. And through a series of, events that definitely changed my mind, seeing that what happened in the last few years. Now it's at the point where I'm like, I don't think this country can be saved. You yourself are a product of a system that targeted against you. You sadly, you went through, I'm going to say, straight up hell for your convictions and your beliefs. And I'm sure everybody that tunes into this show appreciates the sacrifice you and Chris and Keith and the lawyers and everyone else, Danny and the rest of them, put in to give us that beautiful movement. And I think it's what's happening right now in Alberta is kind of a recreation of this. So to me, having Carney in a majority position hopefully will cause those fence sitters to jump to our camp. So I see this as kind of a blessing in disguise, because it's going to happen at the end of the day. It's just it can't happen soon enough. I look at it that way.
So I agree with what Mike is saying, but I guess my concern is that, and I'm going to push back a little, because I've always said I will never cheerlead a politician. But what concerns me with Danielle is that from day one, she said, we want to do a mandate for an Alberta pension plan. We want a mandate for an Alberta police force. A number of things that she wants to move forward with within the province. And she's been given that mandate, yet at the most recent AGM, she once again asked for everybody to vote on, do you want an Alberta pension plan? Do you want an Alberta police force? We had the Alberta Next panels, and how many millions did that cost taxpayers at a time that we're running a deficit? It's kind of reminiscent of Mark Carney, that she just talks and talks and talks and talks, but doesn't actually implement or do anything. It makes me worry that she's kind of pulling a Jason Kenney or a federalist approach to say, I'm going to promise the world, but just never deliver. So I guess that's where my concerns lie when it comes to, are the UCP government going to follow through should we reach the threshold, or are they going to try to essentially use this as a data mining operation for where their party stands on the playfield and just kind of sweep it under the rug?
Well, I mean, that's going to be interesting to see for sure how it all plays out. I mean, welcome to politics, Derek. It's word salad. It's just rehashing old promises, like you said. I mean, what does the what is the act? Sovereign Alberta within a united Canada. Like, what does that even mean? Aren't all provinces supposed to be sovereign provinces within a united Canada? We're making laws to solve problems that we already have laws created for. I mean, this is the problem with what we're seeing with politics. And, you know, like I said, I like Danielle Smith. She's not perfect, but she's a politician, and she's just got to play the game. I mean, and my biggest issue with politics has always been, like you were just saying, you can't sit on the fence. You need to take a stand against something. You know, what's the saying? Stand for something or fall for anything. So
fall for everything. Yep.
You know, it is just typical of recycled promises. I mean, I watched that debate with Jason Kenney and Bruce Party, and you know, Jason Kenney was bragging about his referendum. Well, he held a question to the people about the Equalization Act. Well, that's great, Jason Kenney. Then what happened? What did you do about it? Yeah. Absolutely nothing. So that's what I mean. This still all remains to be seen. I mean, she can take all these referendum questions in October and just chuck them in the trash as soon as it's done if she wants to. So, you know, yeah, it would be nice to see. Well, I hope we see her put her money where her mouth is in that situation.
Well, I guess that's partially what worries me, is that her questions in October's referendum essentially are a nothing burger, because nothing can be done unless they open up the Constitution. It's one of the many things, Tamara, that Corey Morgan was talking about on your tour with Rebel News over the independence referendum, is that no politician has the power or the ability to open the Constitution, because you need 7 of 10 provinces to agree, and Quebec gets a veto. So why are we wasting our time running referendums around these questions when all of Danielle's questions essentially lead the road to independence? Therefore, we should just get a referendum with a single question on a ballot, in my mind.
Well, it's just about appeasement. It's about appeasing people, in my opinion. Just like the MOU, like those Albertans are getting angry again, and they're talking about separation. So I'm going to just toss this MOU out there, a meaningless piece of paper, and put my meaningless signature on it. You know, that's how it seems to go for Albertans in the years that I've lived here. Is they start to get a little bit disgruntled when they get really tired of being used and abused. And then, you know, these independence movements start, and then it's just like they throw us a bone. They just throw us a little bone to pat us on the head and just go away now. And, you know, and so, yeah, exactly. Those referendum questions feel just like that. It's the illusion of letting the people believe that they have a voice is what it is. You know, like, you get to have a say on this question, but you're absolutely right. You do get to have a say on the question, but then what? Like, where's the mechanisms to ensure
where do we go?
The people's voices are upheld?
Yeah, the big thing is going to be, like I said, when it comes to the referendum in October, and I agree with you, Derek. I mean, those other questions, I mean, are essentially nothing. I mean, everybody for the referendum, make sure you actually fill those out, because it's important. Yes. So, but then we get into the fact that at the end of the day, it comes down to that final question. When it comes to us getting the numbers, there's no doubt in my mind that this is going to happen. And like I said, the problem is that they're going to throw everything at us. I know I saw a report today that they said they actually started talking about Alberta separation within the Privy Council. So it is now on the table. Like I said, it's something that they're really worried about. And it's not, and the attacks are not going to stop. So they can throw us all the bones they want. At the end of the day, they can you know, bring out the Jason Kenneys, and they can bring out the Conservative Party for all they want. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Like I said, right now the big thing is just focusing on the mission on hand. When it comes to what you're doing right now, Tamara, how let's talk a little bit about the speaking tour. Going into that, what did you go in? What did you learn, and what did you come out with it with?
Well, I went into it really not knowing what to expect for my part. I mean, Corey Morgan, of course, has had tons and tons of experience in the independence world. And I guess I have to a certain extent too. So it was really like, what is my message? And for the most part, for me, I went in and ended up basically just talking about my experience, because a lot of people wonder why I was, really for Canada. And I still am I'm still for Canadians. I'm still for Canada. Of course, I still want it to succeed. But how my thought process has come to believe that independence is good for Alberta after leading such a Canadian movement, or being a part of that Canadian movement. You know what I mean? But it was great going into it. I learned a lot just from Corey and Sheila, listening to them, period. I learned a lot from the audience. The Q&As were fantastic. Like, I wish I would have went in there just armed with more knowledge. I'm not an expert. Like, I'm not a constitutional lawyer, so there's a lot of questions that I can't ask or answer, but it was great to get out and see so many people. Always love hanging out with Sheila and Corey for sure. And just really smart, there's a lot of really concerned Albertans out there. There's a lot of hope in those rooms for the future, and they're hopeful that they will have a say.
Mm-hmm. All right. Just out of curiosity, what was the number one question that was asked from the audience? Because like I said, with the chat, I'm sure people have tons of questions. What was the number one question that people were most concerned about? And maybe you can give the answer to that one.
Their pensions. They're very concerned about how it's going to work with their pensions. Yeah. Which is valid. But like Corey said, Canadian expats live all over the world and they still get their pensions. So, it would be good I'd love to continue this tour, but maybe have Keith Wilson's too busy, but have somebody that can contribute more to the legalities and the stuff like that to answer these people's questions, because they are very valid. And not only that, but then they can separate sort of the wheat from the chaff. Like, there's a lot of fear mongering, obviously, that's already happening out there about how you're going to lose your pension, or you're not going to have a military, or you're not going to, you're going to be broke. Like, there's all this fear mongering that's already started. So it would be good to have someone on the tour too that could, put those worries to ease.
Yeah, I saw a really good interview with Conrad Black this week, and he brought the point that in the event of Alberta leaving, we would essentially turn into a massive petro state. And this is some of the numbers that people don't really realize. When it comes to oil production, we use Norway as a kind of example. Population-wise, we're very similar. Norway produces half the amount of oil we do, and at the end of the day, that's their primary export, and they got some fisheries and stuff like that. Here in Alberta, not only do we produce twice as much oil as Norway does, actually a little more. We also have agriculture. We also have mining. We also have manufacturing. We have a booming tech sector. So at the end of the day, we will fare better than most of those like Norway, for example. And it's a very bright and positive future. When it comes to some of the other myths, and like I said, you've discussed this on the tour and stuff like that. Pensions, of course, everyone's worried about. Military, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. I'm not worried about that. The passport stuff, I'm like, we'll just create another one. Citizenship, well, at the end of the day, you were born in Canada, so you just become a dual citizen. Maybe that's what I know Derek's been trying to get Keith and the rest of the guys up on the show to kind of answer these questions. And I think that's kind of the big push right now, is just more information, and just flooding people with answers. Because like I spend sometimes my evenings perusing around some of the insane Facebook groups out there. And I mean, the misinformation and like the bold-faced lies spread by the forever Canadian elbows people, as I call them, is just it's kind of concerning, because it's like, how do you believe this? Like, what a fabricated imaginary world are you living in?
I think it's going to be really interesting to see where things go. And I think that, look, there's a reason that we haven't brought Mitch or Jeff or any of those guys onto the channel yet. Part of it, while it would be good timing with the signatures ending, they're kind of in full force mode right now. Kind of, what are we calling this? The final stretch because of them having to wrap up the signatures. So I don't want to bother them by saying, hey, come on a show and ask a bunch of questions. But we try to answer them as best as we can here, at least of what we know. But one of my concerns when a lot of people have said, so what happens if things get shut down or if there's a delay? What happens if Danielle continues to mess around? Are the Conservatives doing essentially what the federal Conservatives do with Alberta already? And I just kind of want to paint that picture to what some people might not realize what I'm talking about. Essentially what some people, not necessarily myself, label the federal Conservatives of is that they don't really campaign around Alberta because they know that Alberta doesn't want Liberals. They know that Alberta doesn't want NDP. So they know that Conservative votes are essentially safe in Alberta. A lot of people are asking now, is Danielle kind of coasting or doing what Pierre was accused of doing during the federal election by sitting on the fence and by not really getting involved as much as she could be in some situations, merely because she's hoping that when we go to a vote next year, if independence hasn't gone through yet, will people just plug their nose and, vote in another UCP government and she can continue sitting on the sidelines? I kind of think that depending on what happens with independence, you might actually see a third party start to form, not necessarily the Alberta Republicans, but we kind of have the two-tier party system in Alberta between the NDP and the UCP. I think that if 70% of the UCP voters that back independence aren't listened to, we may start to see a third party grow from the ashes of that to kind of push for an independence ballot or a proper independence referendum. And that's kind of one thing a lot of people have been asking for is what happens with a leader? Who are we going to get to negotiate the Independence Forum once Alberta votes its way out of Confederation? Who do we have leading the charge? I guess while you're here, Tamara, people have been saying, who are we going to get to lead such a party or lead people? We need somebody charismatic, somebody with presence, somebody who knows how to speak. I can think of one of three people in this room that I would definitely nominate, and it wouldn't be a male. Do you see yourself maybe entering into the political game at any point if something like that were to develop? Or
oh gosh, I hope not.
No,
I certainly hope not. I
know you were tied to the Maverick Party.
Yeah, well, yeah, I absolutely was. Yeah, I get that question a lot, actually, but I don't want to be a politician. I mean, so many things would have to change for me to be a politician. Even federal politics, lots of people have asked, obviously, if I'd run in federal politics. But, I mean, what's the point? As soon as you get in there, you get stuck you're just a cog in the same wheel as far as I'm concerned. Now, saying that, and I don't want to sound black-pilled, like what Matt Strauss and Andrew Lawton and Aaron Gunn and Dean Allison, David Bexley's dad, what those guys are doing in there is great. But again, like what effectively can they do as opposition? They have a voice at least, and people are hearing their message. So I certainly hope not. I hope not.
Well, there's kind of a reason I brought up that question because, I've spoken to Corey Morgan, I've spoke to Keith Wilson, I've spoke to others about, because essentially if somebody were to ask me who should lead this, I would always say, like, if you were to put a face to it, somebody like Keith, I think, has the charisma, the speaking power, as well as the knowledge to carry essentially a party and keep people informed at the same time, knowing the ins and outs of how things work. But all of them have kind of voiced that, well, they don't really they want to be involved in some level, whether that be the negotiations or helping with legalities. But none of them really hold any interest in getting involved in leading this charge. I guess the question I would ask somebody who is a leader such as yourself is, how do we find somebody that the people can trust, or who do we essentially turn to lead that charge when the time comes?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, there is so many great people involved in this movement. I am a firm believer that people will choose their own leader. And the same thing happened, with the convoy. There was people that people recognized as leaders, but then, nobody asked for that. And I think just to let it happen organically, I would love to see Keith Wilson leading this somehow. But again, nobody wants to lead anything because if things go sideways, not that that's compared to my situation, but any time that you're in front of something, a movement or an organization, you're still putting yourself at risk. So there's that too. But I think a lot of it depends on the team that you put around you too. I mean, I watch federal politics, and for the life of me, I don't know how these people in cabinet get their portfolios. Most of them don't have any background even in the portfolios that they're serving. So, I mean, that is something that I think is important, finding the right people and surrounding yourself with right people in the right positions, using their particular skill sets.
I think when it comes to leadership in this movement, I think they will just like they will present themselves at the proper time. I think right now focusing on this is kind of a collective, you know what I mean? This is everyone that's pushing forward for this. And then when the time comes, like everyone will rally behind someone, someone will step up. I think it'll just happen naturally. And it could be anyone. It could be someone, a small business owner. It could be, a farmer. It could be trucker. It could be anything. And I think, like I said, that person will present themselves at that perfect moment, and everyone will just get behind them. Because at the end of the day, you don't want someone really tainted by the system already. So
right.
Well, fine. I'll tell you what. I'll just do it then. I'll just do it if that's what you guys want. If nobody's gonna step up, no, I'm just joking. I'm not gonna do it. I would be the worst person to do that job. I usually don't bring in super chats when guests are on, but there are some questions for Tamara here, so I'm gonna go through them real quick. We'll get them out of the way because I'd hate for Tamara to take off and then people don't get the chance to have their voice heard. But Steve Jensen comes in, $5 super chat. What's the best way to submit a video suggestion to the Fringe for consideration? Found a great one about the building of Canada and immigration. Send it over to our email, unacceptablefringeyt@gmail.com. I'll take a look at it. But again, keep in mind, I get a lot of emails. So if I have managed to come across it, I'll take a peek at it. Gerald, hey, Tamara, nice to see you. I've been a truck driver for 50 years, says Gerald with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Gerald, for that. Mr. Biggs, upon Alberta independence, I say we pardon those prosecuted over the convoy and put Big Red in the Republic of Alberta Museum of Independence with a $5 super chat. I don't know if Chris is ready to give up Big Red yet, is he?
No, we'll just build a statue.
I don't think so, not yet.
A big bronze statue.
Yeah, we'll bronze it when he's done. When he's done with it. Bridget, $7 super chat. Thank you so much. Call and email your MLA constantly to have a standalone question on a day of its own. It works. Hopefully it would. Bridget, thank you for the super chat. I would agree with that one. I saw this one pop up. Steve Jensen, $20 super chat, spoke to many people at the Whistle Stop. Every one of them said they were pissed with Danielle adding those ridiculous other questions. And if she stops independence by this, her political career is done in Alberta. So that's kind of my worry with some of this. I'll continue on with the super chats, but if Danielle, and again, she's kind of walking a very fine line here. If the UCP were to stop the process on independence theoretically at this point, what do you think that would be the end of the UCP? Or because really right now the only other vote is for the NDP and for Naheed Nenshi. So Tamara, I'll start with you. Where do you think that would go?
Goodness, that's a good question. I mean, what are our choices here? And as you were saying, even if another political party comes up, we've seen what happens when we split the vote here too. And I think people are still quite sensitive to that whole situation. So, but that said, the previous governments did get complacent also, and they just took that support for granted. And then that's how we ended up in the situation with the NDP as we did. So hopefully they're paying attention, and hopefully that they're listening to, what people have to say about it.
Hopefully. One can hope. Trish, $14 super chat. I believe she just outlined the work that we have to do. We must educate the people so they know that those things are not attainable without Alberta independence. Again, referring to Danielle's question. So I agree with that. And again, like I said earlier, I think those are the stepping stones that they all point to the road on independence. It's just too bad because now you've got people that say it's muddying the waters by having those questions. But ultimately, the only way to answer those questions or to follow through with them is independence. So, and I saw it in a super chat. I'm going to highlight it real quick because it's kind of tied into the same thing. I'm answering only one question on the ballot. Says, how dare you? With a $2 super chat. Please, folks, when the time comes for referendum, answer all the questions. I have heard that if somebody leaves any of the questions unchecked, they will count that as a spoiled ballot. I'm not going to confirm that. This is just what I've heard. But we don't want to risk any possibility of that happening. So just humor them, answer the questions, fill out the ballot properly. Don't put 2 X's over independence thinking you're making a statement or something. Treat it just like a federal or provincial vote. Do your due diligence and don't spoil your ballots, because every vote is going to count when it comes time to that referendum to take place. Tony with a $14 super chat. Hey guys, love you, Tamara. Let's stop playing games with the other questions and have the one that counts and leave. But I think you're right. She has to play the game.
If I could just say something, Dwayne and I have actually gone back and watched some of her shows from the radio show, and it's very apparent if you ever listen to her radio show or watched it. Danielle Smith loves Alberta. She definitely cares about Alberta, and so I don't think that there's any nefarious intent behind the questions. I think that's a really good point that lady just made about it's about educating people. But I encourage people to go back and listen to some of her old radio shows. I mean, I would be surprised if she wasn't secretly pulling for this grassroots movement after watching some of her shows again.
I'd like to think so. And again, like I said, I try my best on this channel to give people information and not really cheerlead. But, after speaking with her back in November, I felt the same. She doesn't give a definitive answer, and I certainly would never ask for one from her, even in private. But, my impression is that she stands with the grassroots movement. Otherwise, why would she even bother working so hard to give us a voice? But the problem I have is when things become wishy-washy with the statements on media. Again, the united or sovereign Alberta within a united Canada. I start going, how long are we playing this game, Danielle? Like, at least throw us a crumb, like something. Stop making it so confusing for us. It's not everybody.
Yes.
Like the smart people in the room. I'm sure the Keith Wilsons and whatnot of Alberta can sit back and go, I know exactly what she's doing. But there's a lot of folks that are watching these snippets and getting these things forwarded to them that all of a sudden say, oh, she's not on our side anymore. And whether Alberta independence moves forward or not, it's going to ruin things afterwards if we have to continue working with the UCP. And that's where I start to panic a little and say, just stop making it so confusing for us. Make it a little more cut and dry. But like you said, welcome to politics and the word salad.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let's continue here. Kevin with a $5 super chat. Who leads the Alberta independence negotiations with Canada and U.S. after referendum victory? Premier Smith or APP leaders Mitch Sylvester and Jeffrey Rath? I'm not 100% on that. I believe it's the Premier is obligated to sit down with First Nations premiers as well as the federal government. I'm sure given I know for a fact that Danielle and Keith Wilson know each other respectively prior to her involvement in politics, we'll say. I believe they both attended university at the same time or something. So they do know each other. I know Danielle has spoken very high of Keith Wilson in the past. So I'm sure they could consult with either Keith or Jeff. And I know Keith has said multiple times he'd like to be considered to be brought in for those negotiations. But Kevin, as far as who's involved, I believe it is just the UCP government as well as anybody attached to them.
Yeah, essentially
on behalf of Albertans.
Yeah, essentially the current government becomes the transitional government until we vote to change that.
Yeah.
So for now,
we'd have to have our constitutional what do they call where we vote for our constitution? Our
constitutional assembly.
Assembly. That's it. Yep. See, I'm so back on it. Even though we were only on a 1 hour time difference, I'm so off on my times and my brains on.
I'm excited for the Constitutional Assembly because I would like to show up in like the old school attire, like the signing of the Declaration of Independence,
the curly wigs and
wigs and the short
the pirate shirts. Yeah, the frilly pirate shirts. I think that would work.
Yeah.
Steve also says we need Jeff Rath on the negotiation table. I know he's chomping on the bit to confront Ottawa. He'll eat them for dinner. I'd like to see Jeff do that, but I don't know if we're going to see that happen. I think that if we're transitioning and are actually successful with independence, I don't see them going and picking a fight with people or making viral clips for the internet. But it's Jeff, so you never know. But
it's gonna have to be a lot of conversations, a lot of negotiations, and sit down and say, okay, what do we want? And then it's gonna go through a vote process. So it's like I said, once we get the signatures, once the referendum's passed, I mean, we're only at the next step. Then the negotiation starts. Then the real hard work begins.
Crazy Legs, when talking about a leader, I'd vote for the one who doesn't look for leadership. So I vote for Tamara. There you go. Tamara, you've already got a vote there. So I think you're going to be, I think you're going to be bound to this no matter what. Steve Jensen with another $2 super chat. All said and done, Danielle is a Federalist. Well, essentially, yes. I mean, look, she has come out and said she's a Federalist. Pierre Poilievre has said he's a Federalist. None of them can tip the cap to independence, even if they supported it. And that's the conundrum we find ourselves in. And again, I have a video out on this tomorrow, folks. So keep in mind, I'm a little more laid back in that video to say, look, it's more to ask you guys what you think. I will say what I said earlier. I'm going to continue being naive because I want to bring a sense of hope to this. I want people to understand that I'm not looking for an I told you so if things go the wrong way, but more necessarily, let's keep our eyes on the prize. As I've always said, let's focus on signatures right now, and whatever hurdles we come to later, if a knife ends up in our back or if things get changed around, let's deal with it then. But for now, I think the smartest thing we can do is plan for what we essentially hope will go through, which is enough signatures, verified signatures, and then a campaigning season towards an October referendum vote, clean and fair. At least that's the way I think we should look at it. Tony Shaw with a $20 super chat. Thank you so much. You don't think Danielle Smith would not leave UCP like she did to the Wild Rose Party? Are you asking, Tony, essentially, would she leave if she was reelected in an independent Alberta, or she would leave for the Liberals or cross the floor? I'm not sure what you're asking there. Danielle has expressed interest that if the people of Alberta would have her in a republic, she would prefer to be the new leader of a Republic of Alberta to a certain degree. But again, that would be up to the people of Alberta to decide if they wanted to bring her back in.
Yeah, she could definitely put her name in the hat, and we'll just see where the cards lay.
Go ahead, Mike.
No, just super chat.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Rob, this kind of ties into what Tamara was saying, because I was going to answer this the same as what Tamara was saying about the old radio shows. I thought Danielle Smith said she was a libertarian. So if you listen to a lot of Danielle's old radio shows or even recent ones, she often talks about libertarianism. She is very much a libertarian, or at least a closet libertarian, we'll say, because she can't be full libertarian in the UCP. But she does have libertarian values, and she does believe in government overreach and that there should be limitations to the government. So again, that's where I get the feelings that Danielle may, in the background outside of work, stand with those in independence. I could be proven wrong, but for now, that's where my naivety will come from. Is much like Tamara, I've been a very big fan of her radio shows, even the ones that she continues to do as premier. And I'll just take it at face value for now until we get to that point. But again, to each their own. I'm not going to fault anybody for thinking the other, or thinking there's maybe more devious things. If you look at the way the government's treated us, especially over the last decade, it's natural that somebody would feel there's no trust here. There's no, I'm not counting anything till it's signed in ink. Is fair. I think that's fair. Trish with a $2.79 super chat. Dennis Kalma is amazing. I don't know who Dennis Kalma is. Does anybody in here know who that is?
Not sure.
Not sure. We'll
have to look
at that. Yeah, we'll have to look that up.
I'm sorry if it's somebody I should know who it is, but I'll look into that. Teresa with a $5 super chat. Let's make it too big to rig. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and that's where I'm saying the signatures matter so much right now. That needs to be the focus. Tamara, you've been in and around at some of the signature events around Alberta. I believe you covered one in Medicine Hat. How did it look when you were covering it?
It was great. There was like a steady stream of people coming and going. I didn't get to cover the second one. They did do a second one a few weeks after that. I am headed to Brooks tomorrow to cover the Stay Free Alberta one in Brooks. And then there's also one in Bow Island on Wednesday. So I'll be going to cover those. And yeah, just hoping for more dates. I know Christopher Scott's running around the province. He's doing a bunch of speaking engagements also. So I want to go and cover some of those. I was just up and saw his in Oyen a few weeks ago. So I've got lots to keep me busy work-wise for sure. But they're great events. Really good events. Again, lots of hope. There's just people are hopeful and they're excited. So it's they're good. Great speakers.
So the guy we mentioned earlier that I said I wasn't sure of, he wrote The Value of Freedom.
Yeah, he's the co-author. Yeah.
My apologies, folks. Again, a name that isn't mentioned too often. We often just talk about The Value of Freedom. Yeah, here it is, Mr. Big's $5 super chat.
Yes.
Wasn't Mr. Jelmer one of the co-authored?
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, my bad.
Tamara, let's talk about the work you're doing right now. I know you got your own podcast. I know you got you're running around with Rebel News and covering some interesting things out there. What's on the menu? What's anything happening in the next little bit?
Well, like I said, I'm starting a second book, so we're going to start book number 2 right away.
Nice.
Which that'll that it should be good. I'm really looking forward to that, and hopefully we'll get it done quicker than the last one. But of course, the last one took so long because we decided to wait for the POEC, right? Because there was so much great information coming out of that. We needed to include that for sure. I am going to be, as I said, going around and covering a lot of these events around Alberta, also Saskatchewan. The Saskatchewan Prosperity Project is up and running in Saskatchewan. So I'm hitting a lot of those little communities to cover those events also. And of course, house arrest keeps me quite busy. We're having lots of fun with that. You know, it's a really great, the show has been really great therapy, I think, for Chris and I more than anything. But we have like a small little platform, but it's really great to have, like, we're platforming the vaccine injured to get their stories out. We've had some of the doctors on, of course. So there's a lot of really good things that we can do with it. And then sometimes we just have fun, but you know, it's a great opportunity for us to mock what is mock worthy. And I think they're just going to wish they hadn't given us so much free time. So
wonderful. If anybody wants to pick up your books, where can they do that at?
Oh yes, Hold the Line is available on Amazon.
Perfect.
Fantastic. And it's an amazing book, folks. It really is wonderful. I've read it probably 5 or 6 times now. I absolutely love everything that's in there. The plight that Tamara endured, and in fact, I actually read it after most recently your Rebel News tour in Edmonton, because one of the things you spoke about there, Tamara, that really kind of hit home for me was that when you looked at everybody who stood in support of the Freedom Convoy and leaving the Maverick Party, that it was essentially what you felt was the last ditch effort to try and save what you thought the vision of Canada was, because you'd joined the Maverick Party, which was kind of focused on Alberta leaving to begin with. So it's kind of surreal almost how things have gone over the last few years. And with the treatment of those who were involved, especially yourself and Chris, with the convoy, Pat King and others, that essentially it really just kind of points and makes sense that we've kind of been forgotten about a long time ago, and independence would definitely make life easier for people, or at least is a better option. But is there anything you want to kind of elaborate on that, or kind of talk about in that department? Or
well, you know, I think about this every single day, because obviously it is conflicting for me. But I think there's no shame in wanting the absolute best for your people and for your families. And Alberta is not getting the absolute best from Confederation. We're not getting the absolute best from our governments. Like I said, you know, we see all this performative nonsense, and that's all it is. We've just been getting the little head pats and told not to worry about it for over a decade. Well, longer than that. It's just gotten worse over a decade. So it is something that I struggle with. Like I've come full circle a few times, I feel, as far as the independence movement goes. I want to see Canada succeed. I absolutely love Canadians, for sure. But I think we have a real opportunity here, you know, to save what I would suggest is the core identity that Justin Trudeau claims that we don't have. I think that's what we're trying to also preserve out here, is our culture and our identity. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think that makes you racist. I don't think that makes you a bad person. I mean, I want my grandchildren to grow up with the sort of freedom that I had when I was a kid growing up in Canada. And if we can't have it as a part of Canada, then I certainly hope and pray that we'll have it as an independent and free Alberta.
Absolutely. And as an import to Alberta, I mean, I could definitely feel that. Like coming here and now look at me, cowboy hat. I own a farm. I got everything going on right now. But it's definitely a culture that I've learned to accept and that I feel part of. And like I said, I don't want to see it get destroyed because I'm loving this too much, and I enjoy having arguments with my Ontario friends all the time about it. So it's good.
There you go.
Well, we were just at the CPC.
Go ahead, Tamara.
Go ahead. I was going to add quickly. Sorry, Derek. I was just at the CPC convention a few weeks ago with Rebel News, and there was a lot of delegates there that came from all over Canada, of course, and a lot of them had flown into Calgary. That was their first trip to Alberta, and they all had the same thing to say. Like, just the atmosphere here just felt more free, and they felt like they were in a place where they didn't have to watch what they said, or they couldn't talk about their politics, or so I mean, there's a noticeable vibe here. There's a noticeable atmosphere of independent, strong-minded people that absolutely love freedom, and can take care of themselves. And I think it's so wonderful when people from the other parts of the country come here and pick up on that so easily.
I wanted to highlight this, Tamara, just at the end here. Peter coming in with a $7 super chat. Thanks for all your hard work, Tamara. It's one thing I've said a million times over, that the whole country owes you, Chris Barber, everybody who was in the Freedom Convoy, everybody who was prosecuted, everybody who lost everything, even had their bank accounts frozen, an unpayable debt. And I can't thank you enough for everything that you've done for us, everything you continue to do for us. I mean, Godspeed with Rebel. Are you still running your podcast on Thursdays?
Yep, every Thursday night at 6 p.m. House Arrest with Chris and Tamara. Yes.
There you go. Just wanted you to get the name drop in there. Thursdays, folks, on YouTube. Go check out. Is it under House Arrest or House Arrest Podcast?
It's under House Arrest on YouTube. Yes, we are actually going to be expanding over to Rumble, and we're going to start trying some new things. So yeah, good. It's lots of fun.
Guys, I can't recommend that podcast enough. I've jumped into the chat a few times in there whenever I've had a minute. It's a fantastic show. I always catch it afterwards. I'm never lucky to get it when it's on right at the beginning, but go and check it out. Tamara and Chris have some amazing guests on that podcast. And you guys really talk about some great subjects that, usually here we're slinging the Alberta stuff and Mark Carney and everything else. But you guys are talking about stuff that actually really is down to earth with what Canadians are actually thinking about, what they're going through. Everybody make sure you check it out. I think you got a winner on your hands, Tamara. And again, thank you. Thank you for taking time to come on this show. It's always so amazing to catch up with you and chat with you. And it's always a pleasure to have you here.
Thanks for making the time. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. And thank you guys for your support all along, and of course your audience too. Yep. Thank you so much for having me.
Future Prime Minister of Alberta, ladies and gentlemen. There we go.
He'd be president. I want to get away from the monarchy.
Yeah, we'll get away from the monarchy. President of Alberta, Queen of Alberta, Queen of Alberta.
You're not going to call me your Royal Highness? Dang.
No, El Presidente. Let's go with that.
If you give me enough drinks, Tamara, I'll call you whatever you like. But there you go, folks.
Sounds
Tamara.
good.
Thanks for coming in. Let's catch up real soon. Take it easy, guys.
Bye.
Tamara Leech, ladies and gentlemen, I love having her in here. She's just it's like I always preach doom and gloom, and then as soon as she comes in, it's like that ray of sunshine breaks through the clouds.
It's like that breath of fresh air that you need to ground yourself is what it is. No, it's good.
Yeah,
I'm glad she's keeping busy, and I'm glad that she's working with Rebel and getting out there and covering some good stories. And like I said, seeing just like myself, the transfer from like federalist and nationalist, to seeing that at the end of the day, the system's not working for us and we're going to look for something better.
You know what I did love seeing in the chat while that was going on? All the trolls came out in full force tonight, guys.
I know
the trolls in there.
It was good. I wanted to highlight. I love beaking the trolls. It's like my favorite thing on this platform.
The trolls. We love the trolls.
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm going to come.
Oh, there's a few super chats I got to get out of the way that came in. I didn't want to highlight them all, folks, because again, I don't like waving them in front of our guests. But Steve Jensen, when we create our new constitution, I think we have to get rid of anything socialism, communism, or Sharia. There's a lot more we have to get rid of than just that. But that's the point of having a constitutional convention, folks. We all get our say. We get to vote on how it should be done. And it's one of the reasons that I think is the biggest push for Alberta independence. When was the last time these things were updated? Ages ago. We need a new constitution, more brought up to speed with reality and what is actually necessary for us. I think it's the biggest advocate for independence. Real Steve Jensen, also the $5 super chat again. Chris Scott was speaking in Calgary right now as we speak. He's been doing a lot of press tours and a lot of speaking engagements. In fact, I will have a speaking engagement to announce in a couple of weeks that's coming up in, I believe it's Central Alberta. So keep your ears onto the line for that one, folks. Nice. If you're going to be around, it's going to be a big one, big event. Looking forward to that one. What do we got here? Crazy Legs, the $5 super chat. When the Libs took John A. Macdonald's statue down, Alberta was the most upset, and they call us traitors. Yeah, that really upset me. You can't scrub away history. No matter how good or bad it is. And it's one of the things that bugged me when you saw it going on in the United States, when it's going on in Canada, and people think that they have the rights to do those things. You're entitled to your opinion. If those things offend you, you're allowed to be offended. What you're not allowed to do is ruin it for everybody else and scrub it from history. It doesn't change what happened.
No, they're trying to basically whitewash everything that's happened in the past. I mean, we're not a perfect nation, and we've never been. And there's none that are out there that are perfect. And at the end of the day, we've made mistakes. I mean, at the time, it was time and place. And the fact that they just want to destroy, our heritage and, like I said, trying to turn it into some weird communistic utopia or whatever they want to call it, not going to happen.
Steve Jensen again. God, Steve, you're funding my lifestyle here. $5 super chat. Albertans are the most Canadian of all of Canada. I as an Albertan, I will agree with that. Yeah. I know some people, there's a lot of viewers who get mad because they say that I'm trash talking Canadians by always pointing that Albertans have to be a certain way or anything. Guys, listen, I'm the same as Tamara. I love all Canadians. Whenever I talk about Ontario, or if I'm talking about Quebec, or if I mention another province, I'm talking about their government. I'm talking about the wokies. I'm talking about the people that we don't like. Those who are like-minded folks, there's a reason you watch this channel. There's a reason you're part of this community. We all align on the same merits. You're just as Albertan as the rest of us, as far as I'm concerned. So please don't take offense when I mention those other provinces or anything like that. I'm not shit talking you guys. It's the banana republic that we live in and we're talking about.
Yeah, it's the blue hair people. It's the elbows people. It's them.
Yep, it's them. Guys, let's do a little Q&A and then we're going to wrap things up. Did we get to our 1,000 likes? Where are we at? Where are we at? Somebody update me.
Where are we at with the likes? Someone
all the different numbers are going to start popping up in the chat any second now. Somebody says 670, 678. Guys, we have over 800 viewers in here. Can you guys just hit the like button? Can we get it up to 1,000 for anybody who hasn't? Somebody says, how about some cowbell? I'll bring in some cowbell to try and get those likes up, guys. Let's see if we can get to 1,000 by the end.
Guess what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more cowbell.
Oh, let's get 300 likes, guys. We can get it in the next couple of minutes if you guys just hit that button.
Exactly. Derek's giving out the goodies. And yeah, like I said, there was no giveaways last week. So you'll have to make for it.
I want to do a mass giveaway. I even said Wednesday when I popped into the stream on vacation, I will do a mass merch giveaway if we hit 1,000 likes. We didn't even get close. Like, people don't want free stuff.
Especially, guys, they want those sweet hoodies that you made. Speaking of that, before I get into there, my buddy Mark, the guy from the Alberta Pin, guys, I know tons of you guys ordered flags and stuff like that. They got held up at customs. They've been released. They'll be out this week. He's putting a couple of magnets in there for your cars to make up for it. So if you guys ordered any of the Alberta Pin stuff, the orders will be out this week. He like I said, he called me. He's like freaking out. He's like, I think he kind of went down the rabbit hole. He's like, I hope they didn't consider this a hate symbol and I got seized at the border. Oh yeah, it was pretty funny.
Yeah, there you go. Greg says Matt and Mike did an amazing job last week. I concur. I think they did a fantastic
job.
We
might have broken the chat last week. Like, that was when towards the end, it went into pure calamity. But for everyone that kind of held themselves together, tip of the hat, ladies and gentlemen.
It's I saw somebody. I'm gonna get one question out of the way that I saw earlier, because somebody asked what the opinion was about the Chiefs going to speak with the King. What is it? It's a nothing burger. Like really, the only reason I don't mention it is because it's nothing but theater. It's not like it holds any water. It doesn't do any. It's just political posturing. It's a guilt card being played, saying, "Oh, please listen to us." Treaties are treaties. Like, if you have a contract, and I said it in yesterday's video, try going to the bank and saying, listen, I signed this mortgage document, but I didn't really know what I was signing. And I feel like you're taking advantage of me by charging me all this interest on my property. So I just want you to wipe that clean out of guilt and give me my property for free.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
the most beautiful part of that Buckingham Palace whole charade, whatever you want to call it, was the one woman that got up and started yelling at the king to give their land back. And I'm just sitting there like, oh, so you admit it's not yours.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, guys, nothing's coming of it. Nothing. What do I think of it? It's a nothing burger. I think it's useless. It's a waste of time. I know many First Nations, and we highlighted it in yesterday's video, that said, look, I wasn't consulted on this. I wasn't asked about this. I want to vote for independence. We have many First Nations canvassers that are out there garnering signatures. Look, if you're going to tell me that, 10 people standing up and screaming is something to be concerned about, it's nothing. It's nothing. They're being, what's funny is that you have First Nations that say we want to be treated fairly and equally, yet they don't mind standing up and being used as a prop to push guilt onto people and try to be like, I know a lot of First Nations folks in Winnipeg that go to the Jets games and they roll their eyes whenever they do the land acknowledgements before the hockey games. And they're like, stop, we don't want this. We don't like it. Like, real First Nations aren't in for that shit, guys. I really don't understand what people expect from it.
So I'm reading the chat right now.
Blood guilt.
It's yeah, the chat's pretty crazy right now. It's just minutes of fun, good stuff. Okay.
Here's something I hear all the time. Well, we don't know the numbers. Will they give the official numbers April 2nd live? No, they won't. I don't believe they will. I don't know whether they will or not, but my guess is no. They'll give the numbers when they're going to give the numbers, guys. There's a reason they're keeping them under lock and key. Just be patient. You'll have them in less than a month.
At the end of the day, if they bring the numbers out too early, it may either slow down the movement or possibly like just stop it altogether. Right now, I mean, act like there's none. Act like there's like one signature, and everybody get out there, talk to your friends, talk to your neighbors, put a pot of coffee on, bring your neighbors over, and just talk about Alberta independence and how much better your life will be.
There you go. Mr. Bake's coming in with a $5 super chat. We got our black and gold hoodies. Love them. My only complaint is the zip ups don't go to 4X. Also can't wait for my 5-liter pail of pins to come in. So happy to hear that you like your hoodie. I will do my best to find if they have other hoodies to choose from in that lineup that can go higher. So bear with me there. I'll see what I can do on that end. Enjoy your pail of pins. Steve Jensen with the $5 super chat. First, the Chiefs complain about being victims of the king and the treaties. Now they're saying the treaties are sacred. You can't have it both ways. Yeah, and that's the problem, is the hypocrisy.
Yeah,
it's the hypocrisy that comes from all of it.
I want to know who's I don't know. You were gone last week. Did you see Nenshi's press conference where he was accusing Danielle Smith of using the Chiefs and the Indigenous as like political pawns as he's in front of them, using them as
political pawns? Somebody should have just had it. Wouldn't have been funny during that conference. Like, I remember being poolside watching that in California going, what the hell is going on? I saw John Bolton's video on it because of course I couldn't get one out. And I would have killed to have seen, or at least somebody has to make an AI clip where it's got him talking on the steps and then somebody comes in and whispers in his ear and he's like, I've just been told that I'm using them as props. Sorry, this press conference is over. Somebody just whispers in his ear and then he goes, shit.
Or does the speech and then it just stops and it goes to like the Curb Your Enthusiasm like music in the background.
Or that will be right back, technical difficulties. Unbelievable.
It was awesome. I was just like, okay. It's hilarious. I mean, at the end of the day, like the griping, the vote on no confidence, this is all political theater, and there's a lot of it more coming up right now. We've got the lawyers of Alberta, the defense lawyers, that they're planning a big protest. You've got what else? You've got Gil McGowan and the unions planning for another one. I mean, it's nonstop. At the end of the day, guys, this is all political. This is all a big charade. You saw that the teachers lost their lawsuit. That was refreshing to see. Look, you guess you can't take the rights away from kids to learn, but
Ryan asks, do you think Albertan people could force Danielle Smith in Alberta elections to put the independence question on a separate ballot from the Danielle's other questions? So I'm going to say that this is exactly why I keep saying you need to get out and sign the petition if you haven't. Master of Snatch brings in a good point. If you don't sign the petition, you're letting other people pick your future. If Alberta wants a better deal within Canada or to separate from Canada, they must speak up. You need to sign that petition. The leaders, the UCP, the MLAs, they're all going to follow where the votes are going. So if they see that the majority of Albertans sign this petition and are qualming for independence and saying, look, this is what we demand, this is what we're interested in, this is what we're going to vote for. If the numbers were too big to rig.
Yeah. Essentially, if the Derek froze for a second. Yeah, but basically
I was just going to say that if Danielle is told, look, they want it on a single question and there's 800,000 signatures on the petition, they have a decision to make. Do we satisfy the masses or do we risk losing our jobs?
Yeah. At the end of the day, I mean, the more people that go out for this vote, even depending on either side of the aisle that they're on, I mean, it's to put it to bed. If we go out there and 60% of the people are pro-independence, on the other hand, if we go out and 75 people are against it, then then it basically this is the end until we can build another movement and start fresh. So I mean, it's everybody needs to go out there and at least put your name on the petition. Even to me, it doesn't matter. It's like at the end of the day, I signed Luke Hasig's petition just as a backup if this didn't work.
Yeah.
And it was just because at the end of the day, I want to vote no matter what.
Teresa comes in. I found it interesting that the other day after they asked the non-confidence in Edmonton, they were on a plane to meet the king. Yeah. Again, all of it, none of it matters. I don't know of any laws that state that First Nations have precedency over whether Danielle Smith has a job or not. They're again one vote. Right, they each have one vote. I could come out tomorrow and say I don't have any confidence in Naheed Nenshi as the leader of the NDP. Oh well, you better get him out of a job. One guy on YouTube said that they don't like him. That's does anybody else see how stupid this is? I saw, and I got hundreds of emails while I was gone of people saying, oh, the MLAs are saying they're not going to allow the question to go through, or oh, Nenshi's standing up talking about Danielle Smith using them and abusing them. It's going to get real and it's going to get bad. It's nothing more than political theater, folks.
At the end of the day, if the chief, there's no way that the Chiefs have this much power. At the end of the day, 2% of the population does not hold sway over the other 98 at the end of the day. So everybody gets one vote. It's going to be, and that's how we're going to deal with it. There's no veto. There's no stuff like that. It's just no. This is all theater. This is all misinformation to sway people from signing the petition. To guilt trip people.
Here it is. See, this is why I like having Snatch around outside of the show. Everything. You guys have no idea how much work Snatch does for this channel. But he brings up a lot of good points. He's a very wise man. Either you get out and pick your own future or somebody will do it for you. And you may not be interested in politics, but politics are interested in you. And he was mentioning pension funds, the sway of pension funds. This is, I see it all the time in these comments, folks. I've been on this channel for 3.5 years trying to get the news out to you guys, talk about opinions, talk about what's happening. And I understand sometimes over many, I throw my opinion a little heavier than listening to others. But the one thing that I've always tried to combat is people saying you can't vote your way out of this. In the federal elections all the time, and people were saying it all the time when Justin Trudeau was rumored to be going, oh, we're not going to vote our way out of this. It's not going to happen. Nothing's going to go through. And sure enough, that's the way it went. But this is the one time in Alberta where your vote actually matters, where your vote actually holds weight. The power of your vote has never been stronger. And if you do not sign that petition, you have no right, no physical right to complain about what comes next. If you didn't stand up for what you believe in, or at least for the future that you want, if that was the future you wanted. So get out and sign.
Absolutely. We're making history, people, here. So at the end of the day, do you want to sit back and just see where it all hands out? Or at the end of the day, do you want to be part of history? Like I said, this is the most important vote you're probably ever going to do in your life.
Travis says, do you think we should email Danielle stating we want a separate vote? No. Go sign the petition. That's the better way to tell her. That is the best way to tell her that you want that vote.
If we get 1 million people on that petition, that is like the shot across the bow. That's the signal that she needs at that point to literally essentially give us what we want at that point. So
the reason I'm saying it's not beneficial to email her, I went to her office in November. I saw the person sitting at their desk with floods and floods of emails from people, and the things that could possibly come through that email inbox. Everything from I went outside and somebody's cat was pissing on my lawn, all the way to I want a single question on an independence ballot. None of it's going to reach the premier. If you want to make a statement, do it with your vote. This is the easiest way to get it through to them. I can't push for it enough, folks. Steve Jensen, another $5 super chat. We have to make this work. That's why we left the politicians outside of the movement.
Yeah. No, exactly. It's a grassroots movement. It was just a bunch of local people, business owners, lawyers, and people that just came together to build this movement. And at the end of the day, like I said, Derek's signed on, I signed on, the rest of the guys. And like I said, I love the fact that it's just a bunch of the only person that's really a politician in this in this like ecosphere is Luke Hasek.
Mm-hmm. And this is another point, is somebody saying get rid of public education and we all be smarter. So this is one of the things somebody mentioned in yesterday's video when I pointed out the kids in lunchrooms in Fairview, Calgary, the community of Fairview at Fairview School, where they canceled or shut down the cafeteria for Ramadan. And people said, well, that's a problem within Calgary. That's in Alberta. What's going to happen if you vote for independence? Your school board is no longer based around unions. You would get to vote your own trustees. You'd have more control over the education that's being taught to your kids. Like, if you don't understand how the system works, just say so. But don't come in like an idiot saying, oh, it's never going to change. It's all the way it always is going to be. You have the ability to literally change that. It's the same as this comment that Tom Lukasik was on Charlie Angus fear-mongering, saying we only want to be 51st state. Yeah. They're doing all of this because they're so freaking scared.
Yeah,
they know we have numbers, folks.
I watched that podcast. Like I said, here on the Fringe People, we do the hard work for you because it was pretty brutal. I don't even know how he gets away with it, to be honest. And like I said, must be the hair or something.
Listen, if I just say one word out of context, if I just say like, Danielle, I like Danielle Smith, somebody will come in and be like, oh, you said you like her, you're a cheerleader for her. Tom Lukasik can go on a podcast and say we're going to be the 51st state. Nobody jumps all over his ass. I don't get it. Well, I guess we have a higher standard here. I guess that's all it is. Reg, being a member for 22 months, we want to be the dog wagging the tail, not the tail wagging the dog. There you go.
Absolutely.
Couldn't have said it better. 830 likes, folks. Listen, I'm not going to do a giveaway and say you almost got there, because then we're accepting a lower standard. If you guys want giveaways, start hitting the like as soon as you get notified. Hit the like when you get into the streams. We need 1,000 likes on Wednesday. Dutchie gave us 4 shirts to give away?
Yeah.
And they're sitting in limbo waiting to be given away for you guys. We need to get 1,000 likes. And I always see people in the comments after the stream, hey, it's at 1.1K likes. It has to happen during the stream. Yeah. Okay. For anybody who missed it. Hit the like button, folks.
Start booking your time to come hang out here on the Fringe and
start doing it.
Smash that like button.
Let's get those likes. Yeah. We were short by 148 likes, but we'll get there, folks.
I will say, Reg Porter, 22 months. That's very impressive. Good for you.
Reg has been here for a long time.
He's OG Fringe. He's
OG Fringe.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
It is what it is. Look at Snatch. Don't be an officious bastard. No, I'm setting a standard. This channel deserves better. And I'll tell you, like, better in terms of what's being pushed out on the algorithm. YouTube has been crushing us lately. I don't know if you guys saw the numbers last week. They totally slammed the majority of the videos that were put out. And unless I talk specifically about Alberta or something that's trending with Mark Carney, the videos don't go anywhere. YouTube refuses for some reason to put them out. Again, they didn't like me talking about Iran this morning or anything else. We need those likes to start pushing our other videos. I demand efforts be doubled. When we hit 1,000, I'll do multiple giveaways in that stream, not just one. So don't worry, folks, it's coming. Hard to make 1,000 when only 876 people are watching. Well, if we started hitting that like button at the beginning, we would get those other people in here to hit the like button, folks. So keep it coming. Derek, we need a good
grind. It's just the grind, yeah.
It's the grind. Yep. It's
been crazy. It's gonna be a crazy week. I think what's gonna happen. We're gonna with everything. I mean, Mark Harney's on another trip right now to the evil that has become the UK right now. And that stuff terrifies me. I mean, he's going over there to ask Keir Starmer about how to censor our Canadians at this point. The bills are coming in, guys. The channel is being attacked, and it's not going to stop. So I mean, like I said, do good out there. Talk to your friends about it. Share the show with your friends, family. Talk to everybody. Get it out there. Put it on your socials. And at the end of the day, we're getting more people's eyeballs on this. We're building a wonderful movement here, like-minded individuals. And this is definitely the place to hang out. And while I sit here and just yell at my other co-host, Matt.
Yeah, that's always fun, isn't it?
Oh, it's the war. Like I said, the memes he sends me throughout the day would break the internet.
There you go. Ladies and gents, I want to thank everybody who came into the stream tonight. I want to thank Tamara Leech for stopping by. It's always good to have Tamara here. She's kind of like everybody's mom. She takes care of everybody. She's always so nice. It's always good catching up. Somebody called me an ass kisser earlier. We're just having fun. That's all it is. I've known Tamara for a couple of years now, and wouldn't enjoy the world without her. I'll tell you that much. Thanks to Mike and Matt again for holding the fort while I was gone. Thanks to all of you who supported the streams while I was gone as well, and for those who supported tonight, guys. I'm really looking forward to Wednesday's show. Hopefully, we got some good and happy news for everybody coming up. I doubt it, but we'll do what we can. And make sure to check out tomorrow's video. Again, we'll be talking about Danielle tomorrow on the channel. Unfortunately, we have to go there. We got to call it out like we see it. So join us for that video tomorrow, folks. From Mike and myself, have yourselves a wonderful evening. Look after each other. We'll catch you on the next one, folks. Take care.
Have a good night.